Hey Grace, it's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite fine, Grace, and thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate it. And you see, Grace, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become an anthem for me. So firstly, Grace, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invest that in yourself. And oftentimes, Grace, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. They say some months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Grace, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, just recently, Grace, I was on that same road, and this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches. And not just mangoes now, Grace, I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely moment that day. I was so excited. I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Grace that you are today, that alone has made it really impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of what that you're doing, the impact your work is having, your philosophies, your insight, how you're offering your solutions. These stuffs are amazing. And just before you got the request from me, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Grace is doing, not only me now, but even the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Grace. So thank you so very much, Grace, for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me here. That's an amazing story. So thank you. Yeah, it's truly a blessing. It really is.
Beautiful. So let's get started, Grace. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today for two reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Grace, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And not just knowledge now, but the application of it. And ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the audience. The second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing Grace on the show is for the sake of the audience. They say, Grace, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Grace, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, Grace, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Grace got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Grace, over to
Abs-
you.
Thank you. So I I'm Grace. I'm 53 now. I come. The accent hasn't told you already. I'm in Australia. I've always been in Australia, born and raised here. Probably about 2000 and probably 2010 it all started when my mum was diagnosed with breast cancer. So because we were wondering whether we were a part of the BRCA gene, you hear about BRCA1, BRCA2, whether it's genetic, we were put on a high risk category. So what happened was I would go and do my routine checkups, and every year it was good to go, Grace, see you in 12 months. And we fast forward to 2018. I've gone to do a routine test. I'm on my way to go and actually catch up with my husband, who's in the jungle of Peru. And I get the doctor's call saying, Grace, we found something. You're going to have to do a biopsy. But when you get back from your holiday, we'll do the biopsy. Go to my holiday, come back, do the biopsy. And then you hear the words that no person or woman wants to hear. Yes, it's breast cancer. So that moment was just a bubble, I guess. And when you're first diagnosed, you don't know what to do. You listen to the doctors because they're in the profession. So you listen to your doctor, whatever your doctor says. If your doctor says we've got to do this or plan A and 1, 2, 3, we go ahead and say, sure, where do we sign? And it started from there where I was like, okay, where do I sign? What do I have to do? And in that moment, my husband actually sort of reached forward and sort of put his hand on my lap and sort of said, wait a minute. And I thought, wow, what are we waiting for? I've just been diagnosed with cancer. Like, that moment is surreal. Let me tell you, anyone who gets a diagnosis like that, it's actually a surreal moment. And he said, just wait, Grace, just wait till we look at the whole big picture. Let's have a look at the whole thing. And I thought, okay, let's do that. So we asked the doctor, can we have some time? And she said, absolutely, you've got 2 weeks. So that's where my journey took a totally different path, I guess, than your Western medicine. And disclaimer, I always say that this is my journey. And what that did is it took me through healing with plant medicines in Peru to doing Ayurveda in Bali and really changing, I guess, the inside out. What I mean by that is I had to change my mindset. I had to change my spirit, my soul, because if I knew that if I had to get through this, whatever this was, I had to start changing. So that's basically where my journey took me, as I said, in Peru, and I worked with plant medicine in the jungle. Well, I'm not sure if you're familiar with shamanism and things like that. So that's what I did. And now, having said that, I also want, Elisha, that the audience know that I wasn't just cutting off my doctor and saying, I never want to see you again. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to ride off and into the sunset and, live like that. I kept my doctor near and dear. And what I meant by that is every time I was coming back from doing something, from trying something, I would go back to my doctor to see where I was at. And in actual fact, she kept telling me, my doctor kept telling me that it was growing. And I thought, okay, we've got to try something else. So that's when it took me to Ayurveda, an ancient Indian practice in Bali. I did it. And again, we did that. Coming back to the Western medicine, I need to get this tested. It's growing. What we then decided, and what we did do, and I should have pointed that out in the beginning, is when I was first diagnosed, we put together what my husband called a dream team. He said, Grace, I need you to have 5 people you trust right now as part of your dream team. Now, that people were people who were into Western, people who were into holistic, people who didn't know the difference, but they were there to help me through this journey. And we discussed my diagnosis like it was, I guess, something that we all had to figure out. And by doing so, it actually allowed me to express what I was feeling and not be so overwhelmed. Because when you're doing it on your own, it's overwhelming. When you're making decisions on your own, it's overwhelming. So that's what I started. So every time we would try something new, Grace, ain't working, let's try something else. So I did that until I actually went and did a second opinion as well. But the reason I bring all that up is because no matter what you're doing physically, like what I was doing physically, I knew I had to start changing from the inside out. Because I knew if I don't change the way I think within, it doesn't matter what the doctors could do. It could heal me, but it could also come back. So I needed to make sure I changed a lot of things, and this is why I speak about my journey, I guess, healing from the inside out is emotional, psychological, spiritual, and things like that. Because, like I said, the physical side is being looked after, your doctors, but it's the other things, the belief, like it's not about just saying, oh, it's gone, it's gone, it's gone sort of thing. It's finding out, really believing within and having a lot of faith and within. And that's what I did. So fast forward to going to my second opinion. And I guess, again, this is my story and this is why I say it's a disclaimer. I went and got a second opinion because that's what I encourage everyone to do. And that surgeon said the same thing based on the test results from the prior surgeon. And she basically said, Grace, we need to go in. We need to operate. Let's just get it out. Let's just get some lymph nodes. Let's just get the mass out and things like that. The day that I got operated, they couldn't find the cancer in my lymph nodes or in the mass. So again, this is where I say I don't know what happened, but a lot of things happened. I had a lot of faith that I could heal myself. It's not what I promote in that sense because not everyone is at that place where it could heal that easy. And I'm not here to say, yes, just do this, go into the jungle and then go to Bali, a little here. What I'm trying to allow people to understand is how important it is to really change and start living your authentic self. So that's where I am
Profound
today.
words. Amazing,
Thank
Grace, I
you.
tell you. Thank you for sharing your story with us. You see, oh boy, you just inspired me because the fact that you mentioned changing from within, changing your mindset. You see, that's a very, very important part because there are a lot of good things that can come one's way when you think right, when your mind is in the right position, when you're thinking right. So I got that. So I've got this question. All right. So what was it like growing up in a physically abusive home? Can you talk to us about that?
Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, like I said in the beginning, I was born in Australia, but my parents were immigrants from Italy. And I grew up in an environment that was not very loving. It was very toxic. It was very, how can I say, my father was always like, I couldn't do anything. He was very strict. I couldn't do anything. So growing up, even as a child, asking a question about something, or if it didn't suit what he was feeling, he would just physically, beat us. And especially myself and my younger sister, probably the most. But what would happen is it was just growing up in an environment where it was just no one believed anyone, no one trusted anyone. So my father wouldn't trust me going out or doing anything. So, growing up in that environment, I tell you, Elisha, there was so many times where I would put my head in my pillow and scream, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Now, both my parents are deceased and, I was able to forgive myself and my father before he passed. But growing up, it was tough. It was really tough because I wasn't able to be me. Hence, get to the age of 47, get diagnosed with cancer, and then I've got to start living my authentic self because I was brought up in an environment where I'm not to be seen, don't talk. The husband comes first. You do everything for your husband. And my husband has always inspired me to walk beside him. Growing up with my parents where my mother was just, whatever. She was just thrown to the side, so to speak, I believe that, no, the man must come first. So it was really tough. It was really tough because, like I said, I missed out on, when I say I left home at the age of 30. And I was abused. Yeah. Up until then, pretty much. So
Really?
And again, yeah. So when I say abused, we're not talking sexual here. We're talking physical here.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
We're getting beaten. Yeah, absolutely beaten. If my dad didn't like something, I said, look, again, I say it's not an open wound, it's a scar. And my father actually put a gun to my head as well. So this is the environment I grew up in. So when I was diagnosed, was I surprised? Yes, but I wasn't so surprised because I was holding a lot of traumas. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, those are the things that made you strong today. You see, the fact that you picked lessons from those experiences, it's amazing. So, how did your childhood, therefore, how did it shape who you are today?
Like you said, it's made me who I am today. I actually thank my parents because if it wasn't for the way that I was in that environment, I wouldn't be the woman I am today. I wouldn't be the sister I am today, the friend I am today, the wife I am today. I'm a very big empath. I don't have children of my own, but I'm an empath where I believe that everyone is one of my children. Sometimes, I'm like a mother. So that's why I thank them, and I thank also my father because he also put in a lot of morals. A lot of morals, a lot of self-respect to others, and things like that. Be a lot of responsibilities in the sense of the way you treat other people. When you first meet them or if you know them, always be mindful about that. So I thank him so much. And yes, much stronger than if he wasn't the father that I grew up with. Absolutely.
Got it. So, finally, let's talk about, authentic self. Why is it important to live as your authentic self?
The reason it's important is because we were put on this earth. I'm not supposed to be the next, I don't know who, let's just put out Katy Perry's or whatever. There's only one of us. So God's created us. When we're in the womb of our mother, God created us to be what we were, not to try and be someone we're not. So it's really important that when you don't align the mind, the body, the soul, that's where, you get that knock on the door saying, hey, wake up to yourself. This isn't aligning. You're portraying yourself as one person because you want to be a people pleaser, but you're not being consistent to who you are inside. So I always say to people, don't wait to get a diagnosis to start living your authentic self. It's really, really important. It means to say no to others is yes to yourself, but also, again, in a respectful manner, detoxing, getting rid of things that no longer serve you and start doing things you love to do. This is really, really important to start doing that.
Very, very important. I got that. So, to bring this to an end, Grace, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who would like to reach out to you, they got inspired, they felt like you're talking to them, and they want to learn more, how can that be possible?
Absolutely. I think my go-to is never make a decision based on fear. No matter where it is in life, don't make a decision based on fear. You have time. When you get diagnosed with breast cancer, you have time to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. And, people can contact me. I'm on social media as well as I've got a website, gracedeangeli.com, or one word. So, and they could find everything they need there on my journals to podcasting to how I can actually interact with them one-on-one.
Beautiful. So that's going to be the end of the show, Grace. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this beautiful stuff with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your podcast. Thank you.